Welcome everyone to today's Strong and Steady class. I am Jen, and I'm happy to have you here. This is our second class. As we get ready, I am seated on a chair and I have my tools. I have a couple of dumbbells here. I have a resistance band. If I don't have dumbbells, two 16-ounce water bottles that are filled would be a great adaptation for it if you don't have anything at home. And then I have a 6-foot stick, which is useful for not for leaning into, but actually helping us to activate our core and remind us of the straightness of our spine that we want to maintain. Okay, so let's get started just by getting some blood flow into our arms. Let's do some small circles here. And then go ahead and reach for the ceiling and bring it down and around, and reach and down and around. And as we're extending out and away from our body, we're working in parallel to our ears. So that way we're stretching not only the muscles in our chest, but also those in our back. Okay, so our upper body now should have a little bit of blood flow in it. Good. And now for those of you that want to, well, let's not say want to, let's go ahead and get started just a little bit from a standing position. I'm gonna back up so you can see me, and I'm gonna march in place just a little bit to get a little bit of blood flow into my legs. My hands are on my hips, and my goal is to get my knees as high as my belly button. So if I extend my arms and bring my knees out, I'm raising them straight up, my spine staying nice and neutral. Good, and now I'm just gonna walk from side to side, reaching out with the side of my foot, keeping my foot parallel to the sides of the walls adjacent to me. And just one more time, down and back. And again, this isn't necessarily about getting your heart rate up. You could speed it up if everything in your body felt good and you could do a shuffle. But if you don't feel good, remember, this is just about blood flow. This is not a high intensity interval training class. This is a strong and steady class. So we're focusing on intentional movement, engaging our core, but that warm up we need to just get our blood flow going. All right, now, we are gonna start this first circuit. There'll be 4 circuits today. The first circuit will be chair squats. We went over this last time, the importance of rising and sitting down in a chair without leaning or pushing off of the chair to rise, okay? That comes from your core strength. So here I am, I'm seated with my heels into the ground right underneath my knees. I don't wanna have my hands on the chair. I don't wanna use that crutch. So I'm going to extend my arms out away from my armpits. And as I do so, they're parallel to my armpits. That's gonna help me engage my lats through my obliques. Then I'm gonna drive my heels into the ground and think about the contraction in my hamstrings and adductors, my inner thighs, to help pull my pelvis up to an upright position, okay? Now, we're gonna go through this circuit twice, and we're gonna do 2 rounds of 10, okay? So we're starting with a chair squat. Ready, and go. 1, and 2, 3. And focus here on as you rise and as you sink, sinking with control. 8, 9, and 10, and sinking with control. Good. Now our next element is going to be a tricep kickback. So our triceps are the muscles in the back of our arms that work in opposition to our bicep. Okay, so here I'm extending and contracting my tricep. We're going to do our tricep kickbacks in a split stance. So what that means is we're gonna go ahead and come to standing. Now, when we are in Forgive me, guys, I need to adjust my screen here. It's falling. There we go, that should be better. Okay. When we're in a neutral stance, our feet are slightly wider than shoulder width apart, comfortable stance, knees bent, but in parallel. In a split stance, we're gonna step 1 foot forward. And for this exercise right now, we're gonna step forward with our left foot. So in our split stance, our left foot is forward, our right foot is back. The feet are in parallel, pointed straight ahead. Okay, my left foot, which is forward, the knee is slightly bent. My right leg that's behind me, the leg is straight. Okay, you got that? Feet pointed forward, toes forward, left knee bent, right knee straight. Talking about our headlights, shoulders, hips, knees, and toes. Headlights are all pointed forward. Now, we're gonna get into a split stance hinge. So the hinge refers to the hinge at the hips. So we're gonna bend at the hips, keeping the back nice and flat. Okay, from the side angle. This is what it looks like. Back is nice and flat. I don't wanna be rounded, flat. Okay, now, if you can come shoulders parallel to hips, great. You're really gonna get a good stretch in the hamstrings and glutes. If you can't, go as deeply as your body will allow you to do while maintaining that flat back. Now, tricep kickbacks. We're gonna get bent over in our split stance, weight evenly distributed on both legs. Now put your elbows next to your ribs. They should be bent, and now we're gonna do 10 kickbacks. So extend that arm and return. Extend and return with control. Good, 4 more. Now remember, as we exhale, we're focusing on belly button to spine. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now to come up out of this, I'm gonna engage my core and squeeze hamstrings and glutes to come back to standing. Try not to round and pull from your back, pull from your core. Now our next movement, we're gonna be in boat pose and do a press. Now here we're gonna focus on trying to do a chest press. So we're gonna sit in boat pose. And here's our angle, right? I'm sitting on my sacrum. My legs are extended out. There's space in between my knees such that they're running parallel to my hips. Feet are on the ground, heels on the ground, toes lifted, okay? I wanna maintain that nice parallel line with my legs. And then I'm gonna sit back in a reclined slight position. Now, if you need to sit all the way back for comfort that your core can't maintain this position, that's okay. Make sure you don't round in the spine, think straight spine, engage your core. And then we're gonna hold our dumbbells up at our chest line and we're gonna press toward the ceiling, okay? So either lean into the chair or hold yourself up slightly and let's go for 10. 1, 2, elbows drawing back, contracting toward the ceiling. 5, 6, heavy belly. 8, 9, and 10. Draw the weights back into your chest and then come to upright. Now we're back to our chair squats. Now, if you feel like you want an additional challenge, you can keep those dumbbells in your hands or your water bottles if that's what you're using and lock them into your sides. So elbows in, arms are bent at a 90-degree angle. That way you're gonna make sure that you're loading the weight into your core and your upper traps are gonna stay engaged to support your spine, okay? We don't wanna be squatting from this position. We want a nice neutral spine supported by the muscles on the anterior and posterior side. Okay, ready? 10 chair squats. Inhale and exhale. 1 and 2, 3, 4. And if you have only one weight, if you're using a 5-pound bag of sugar, You can hold that bag by its ears. You can really do some good work working on the grip in your hands. 8, digging those heels, contracting those hamstrings, and 10. Good, okay. Now we're back to our split stance tricep kickbacks. Now we're gonna put the other foot forward, okay? So last time we had left foot forward. Now we're gonna step forward with that right foot. Now, as you find your split stance, make sure your weight is evenly distributed on both feet. Again, bend that right knee just a little bit, straighten that left leg. Gaze down, make sure your toes are pointed forward. Are your headlights forward? Toes, knees, hips, shoulders. Okay, then we're gonna tuck those elbows in to our ribs, arms are bent, and then we're gonna bend over to a flat back. Okay, I'm gonna go to the side view for you before we begin. Bent over. All right, now we're gonna begin our tricep kickbacks. Inhale and exhale. 1. Now this, remember this class is strong and steady. So what that means here is I want to control my movement. No wiggling. My core is fully supporting me. Good. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, now take the weights back to your chest, engage your core, press your heel through the ground, and come to standing. Excellent. Okay, now we're back to our boat pose, overhead press. Now, from the front, let's look at this. Okay, as I'm seated back in my boat pose, I have the weights right at my chest and shoulder line, and I'm gonna be pressing forward in this fashion, okay? So if I'm here, if you're looking at me this way, I'm reclined back, but my spine is still neutral. I'm on my sacrum. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, and I'm thinking heavy belly. I'm holding my spine up with the strength of my core, my anterior core muscles. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nicely done. Okay, good job. Set 1 in the books. Okay, now we're gonna move on to set 2. Get a drink of water now if you need it. Okay. Now, we're gonna learn a couple of new movements in set 2. The first one, we're gonna utilize our chair for stability, and we're gonna do donkey kicks. Okay, so we have our folding chair in front of us. And we're gonna lean over our folding chair. So if we start with feet in parallel, I'm thinking, oh, Jen, this is a hip hinge. Okay, so I'm going to bend over, hinging at the waist. And then I'm gonna drop my hands right underneath my shoulders. And I should look like a nice right angle here. Okay, good. Okay, let's try that again. Hands on hips, contract and come to standing. Arms down. One more time, hands back on hips, heels to the ground, contract through the hamstrings. Okay, I'm back and upright, good. Okay, now for our donkey kicks. So in our donkey kicks, we're gonna be standing on one leg, okay? So I'm gonna go back into my hinge, drop my hands. Okay, one leg. So for this side, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to extend my leg out from my hip and then bend at the knee so that my foot is running parallel to the ceiling. Now, a donkey kick here, I'm gonna press, small movement up to the ceiling, contracting hamstring and glute as though I'm trying to drive a tiny nail through the ceiling. Okay, that is your donkey kick. Then we'll do split stance shoulder press. So we'll find our good split stance and our dumbbells, and we're gonna do shoulder presses on both, and we'll take turns on the legs. And then we're gonna learn a chair reverse plank. Okay, so that'll be, again, with the chair. seated, and we'll be pressing our body up off of the chair. Okay, you ready? All right, so we're gonna have to do for the donkey kicks, one side and then the other. Okay, so here we go for our donkey kicks. Bend over, nice flat back, soft neck, soft tops of shoulders, release the arms under the armpits. Okay, draw in your belly button. All right, now my left leg is gonna come up and I'm looking back. Is my knee in parallel to my hip? My leg should be bent at a right angle, heel toward the ceiling. Okay, let's go for 10, just small pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, bring that leg down. And now let's switch sides. Now those pulses are coming from a hamstring and glute contraction. That's the muscles you want to be thinking with here. Okay, now right side. All right, I'm in my nice bent over position, wrists under armpits. I'm gonna bend and lift that right leg, okay? Now here we go for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good, and bring that back down. You should be feeling it primarily back there. Okay, now let's find our dumbbells again. All right, split stance shoulder press. So as we've been doing, we'll start with the left leg forward, finding our nice split stance. Now you may be wondering why I like this split stance so much. Because honestly, it takes you out of kind of this neutral position and it forces your muscles to engage and stabilize you in a different way. Okay, so I have left leg forwards, knee slightly bent, right leg back and straight. I can even feel a little stretch as I drive my right heel down with energy into the ground. I can feel my calf. Okay, I'm checking in with parallel. Now I'm holding the weights extended parallel from my ears. My arms are at right angles. Exhale and press to the ceiling. Now, if you have some shoulder issues and this angle doesn't feel good, you can go ahead and bring your wrists facing each other. I'm not too particular about it. It does change things a little bit in terms of what muscles are being worked, but not really enough to be devastating for those of you that have shoulder issues. Okay, now coming out of this, I'm gonna draw elbows in and slowly bring down to the ground. Good. Okay, now our chair reverse planks. This is gonna be for our tricep and our back and our hamstring. So I'm thinking with my legs, the same positioning I do with a boat pose. So I'm seated on my sit bones. My legs are extended out parallel to my hips, space between my knees and my feet, and my toes are off the ground. I'm gonna press my hands underneath my armpits, right next to my rib cage with energy. And then I'm gonna lift my fanny up off of the chair. Now it doesn't have to come far away. You can be here, but just hold yourself off and press your hands firmly through the chair. Now we're gonna try and hold this for 30 seconds, okay? So I'm strong through my lats to obliques. I'm letting my belly button sink toward my spine. Heavy belly, nice and flat. We have 10 more seconds, nice and easy. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, send your fanny back down to the chair. Nice work. Okay, we're back to our chair donkey kicks. All right, so we're standing in front of the chair, hands on hips, feet comfortably set apart. Inhale, draw the belly button in. Exhale as you hinge down, lower the hands underneath the armpits. Okay, starting with that left leg, I'm gonna bend into a right angle and then send the knee up so it's parallel to my hips. Okay, I have 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3. And I like to visualize a drawbridge as I'm doing this. So I'm just pulling on that leg like there's a rope And that rope is my hamstring. Contract, contract, 2 and 1, okay? And then lower slowly to the ground. Good. Okay, let's flip sides. Now, for anyone that's having knee pain, a lot of times pain in our body comes from muscle imbalances. And it is very normal that we really don't focus on our hamstrings enough and our quads are too strong. So it's important to do hamstring focus exercises, okay? So that's what this one is here for. All right, so we're in our, whoops, our nice bent over position. Wrists under armpits, neck soft, tops of shoulders soft. I'm gonna go ahead and bend at the knee and then elevate the knee so it's parallel to my hips, and then exhale, 1, 2, and I'm just tapping that nail into the ceiling, and nothing is moving except that small movement in my hip, 2 and 1. Okay, bring it back down with control. And then hinge your way back up into an upright position. Nice. Okay, now we're back to our shoulder presses in a split stance. Okay, I've got my 2 dumbbells, split stance. So feet in parallel. Now I'm gonna stride forward with my right leg. My toes are straight, my headlights are straight. My right knee is gonna be slightly bent. My left leg is long, heel to the ground. Now, from this position, I'm gonna go into my shoulder press. So I'm gonna do a curl and extend out, elbows parallel to ears. 1 and 2. And I like to bring the heads of the dumbbells together at the top. 4, 5, 6, and I'm reaching for the ceiling with my knuckles. 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay. Bicep curl them down to your sides. Bring your legs together. Good. And now we're back to our chair reverse plank. Okay. I hope that this is an okay movement for a lot of you, particularly those of you that have shoulder problems. If it is too much to push your body weight off, just try and think about lifting your heart as you press your hands through the chair, okay? That might be an option that hopefully you can drive engagement lat to oblique. Okay, we're gonna go for 30 seconds again here. So legs extended in parallel, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm pushing my fanny up and away from the chair, and I'm holding. Now, the fullest extent of this reverse plank would be in this position with my body nice and straight and my wrists underneath my armpits. And I would try and still focus on a nice neutral spine. So this is an incline reverse plank. Now, this is on the more challenging end of this movement. So as you create a soft bend in your knees, you're still working really hard on the target area, which is in your triceps and your lats. Okay, good. All right, let's return our fanny to the chair. Nice job. All right, get a drink. Circuit number 2 down. Now, we're going into an arm-focused portion of the circuit, and this is gonna be designed a little bit differently. So get your dumbbells, get your water bottles close. We're going to do 4 movements, back to front, to back to front, to back to front, with no rest in between, okay? And we're gonna do, ideally, 6 repetitions of each, and we're gonna try and take this circuit 3 times through, okay? So what we will be doing, we're gonna be upright, front raises for 6, lateral raises for 6. Then you can set your weights down, bend over and do airplane arms, pulling from your posterior deltoids and your middle and lower traps and your lats. And then back up, back with the dumbbells and hammer curls. Okay, so we're gonna go for, you know, let's change that. We'll do 7 on the first round of each, 6 on the second round of each, and 5 on the third round of each. Okay, all right, we're not racing, we're just gonna try and work continuously with good control. Okay, so now I'm reaching for my dumbbells. All right, and we're starting with front raises, okay? So make sure your legs are positioned where you want them. Knees extended out from hips, slight separation here, heels into the ground. Okay, front raises, all right? Exhale and raise. And we're focusing on our lats and our shoulders and our stillness. 4, 5, 6, and 7 as you return to the ground. Now we're working out to the side. 1, 2, 3. And you can think a little bit of upper traps here, more medial deltoids. 5, 6, and 7. Okay, now I'm gonna reach over, I'm gonna drop my weights, and I'm gonna keep this bent over position, flat back. And I'm gonna airplane arms out, and I'm focusing on my posterior deltoids. I want that neutral spine supported by my core. I'm not pulling from tops to shoulders and neck. 6 and 7. Okay, back down from my dumbbells for hammer curls. 1, 2, contracting through the bicep and lengthening through the bicep. 5, 6, and 7, and lower to the ground with control. Okay, I'll give you a 15-second break, and then we're gonna go on to the next round of 6. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. All right, nice and tall on my sit bones. Inhale, exhale, 1. And it's really hard not to wiggle. For those of you that are standing, focus on engaging through your inner thighs. Keep that pelvis still. 1 more for 6. And to the side, 1. Visualize what's happening in your body. 3. Here we're contracting through the middle deltoid head. 5 and 6. Okay, I'm gonna lower the weights to the ground with control. 45-degree angle back, and 1, 2. Think long spine, lengthening away from your tailbone. And 6, good. Reach for those dumbbells again, and hammer curl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. Okay, now we're on our round of 5. Ready? Reach for those dumbbells. Come to a neutral spine position, front raise. Exhale, and 1. Last one, 5. Okay, to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Lowered to the ground with control, those dumbbells, unless you want to use them for this last set. 45-degree angle back, nice and neutral spine. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. And really focus on pulling from the back of those shoulders. And 5. Good. Reach for those dumbbells again and hammer curl. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, nicely done. All right, good job, guys. Get your water. Now we're gonna focus a little bit on core work, okay? The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna come to standing beside our chair, okay? So we did a little bit of hip abduction last time. What we're gonna focus on here is actually kind of a standing oblique crunch. We're gonna use our chair for support so that we feel like we're strong, we're steady on our feet. And I have the chair on my right side and my right hand is down on the chair. And I'm gonna bring my left hand to my ear. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring my elbow to my knee. And I'm thinking about pulling my knee up by contracting through my oblique, okay? All right, you ready? Okay, hand is right beside my left ear. Exhale, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, nice job. Let's move the chair to the other side. Okay, right hand by right ear, left hand down on the chair. We're bringing that elbow toward that right knee, contracting through that right oblique. And this is really a great way to connect to your obliques. It's kind of almost more automatic if you feel like, where are my obliques? I can't really sense where they are. This is a great way to find them. And if you want to, instead of having your hand here, you can put it here if you're struggling with it and think, oh, there it is, okay? So if your hand is here, great. If it's here, right at my hip bone's right here, I'm right at the smallest point of my waist here to find my right oblique, okay? Ready? 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nicely done. Okay. Now we're going to do seated torso twists. Okay, so I want your legs extended out, and I want you to imagine that they're dead, that you aren't going to use them to twist from. Okay, so you can either cross your arms in front of your chest, or you can have ballerina arms, okay? And again, we're going after those obliques. We want scapular stability, so these are your scapula and your mid-back. Keep them still, okay? Shoulders down, tops of neck, or tops of shoulders are soft, neck is soft. Exhale, twist. 2. Now we just did those oblique crunches, so hopefully right now you're thinking, oh yeah, now I can feel them in this movement because I got them really warmed up. 9, and 10. Okay, now we're gonna do some abdominal crunches. So talking about our abdomen, again, reviewing our anatomy, our deepest layer of our abdomen is our transverse abdominis. And then we have the various layers of obliques, our internals first, our externals next. And then over the front is your rectus abdominis, what we commonly call your six-pack. And the primary job of that rectus abdominis is to pull your spine into flexion, okay? So what we're gonna do here now is focus, try and strip away these layers in our mind and in our execution. I want you to think about first flattening your belly by deepening and wrapping your transverse. So try and make it nice and shallow in your belly, deeply, okay? And then we're gonna maintain that level of deepness, and we're gonna use our rectus abdominis to pull us forward into flexion, okay? So I'm seated this way so you can look at my spine, and my spine is curving into a rounded position, which is what we want for this abdominal crunch. So I'm gonna put my fist, or I can even take my dumbbell and put it in my low belly, like right below my belly button. And I'm crunching up and over the weight, or my fist if I'm using my fist, and try and keep your low belly tucked and crunch up and over by thinking about your rectus abdominis. Okay, ready? Remember, we always start our exhale before we begin. And your measure of success here is, can you keep your low belly tucked in as you crunch up and over? What we talk about in Pilates, and what I talk about as I'm weight training my clients, is crunching up and over this imaginary dagger pointed at your abdomen. One more. Good. Okay, let's come to standing. We're back to our side crunches. Now, for those of you that feel like your balance is good enough, you don't need the chair, this is where you might use the stick. Okay, so a stick is a stabilizing force, but it's a little less stable because it doesn't have 4 legs, it only has 1 leg. Okay, so to use the stick here, I have the base of the stick in closer toward my feet. My arm is extended out and away, but slightly below the angle of my shoulder. Okay, and I'm going to drive it in toward the ground. I'm like trying to push it through the mat. All right, so I have it in my right hand. I have my left hand by my ear, and I'm gonna do these crunches. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay, other side. Now, the stick is in my left hand, extended straight out from my ear, base of the stick closer to my feet, the head of the stick further away. All right, I'm gonna be standing on my left, contracting through my right oblique. And 1, 2. Now, if the stick is too much, reach for your chair. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nice job. Okay, now we're back to the chair, our seated torso twists. Now, yes, you can use a dumbbell here, okay? That's totally fine if you feel like, I can do a little bit more here, Jen. So grab your dumbbell, ballerina arms. Exhale and twist. Now the weight of the dumbbell, I'm really focusing on squeezing through my chest. And oppositionally from my chest, I'm holding it in my lats. 7, 8, twisting through the rib cage. 9, and 10. Good. Okay, set that dumbbell down. And now we're looking at our forward crunches. Okay, focusing on keeping a transverse wrapped, our rectus abdominis pulling us into flexion. I'm up on my sit bones. Inhale, belly button to spine. Exhale, crunch over the dagger. And as you are able, you want to mentally think about the only muscles I'm using here are the muscles on my anterior wall. Everything else is dead. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, nice job, guys. All right, we're on our last set here, kind of our cool down. We'll work on our shoulder articulation series. So we're going to start with our seated door handles. So if you're getting a drink, now's a great time for that. Back on your chair, we're sitting on our sit bones. And we should be nice and comfortable with our shoulder blades, just comfortable in our back. Grab a breath. Now, for seated door handles, we're going to extend our arms out from our shoulders and relax through the neck, relax through your upper traps. My fingers are extended, my thumbs are up. I'm going to go ahead and rotate one arm down so my right thumb is pointed at the ground. Okay, now I'm going to imagine that I'm turning doorknobs on either side. So I'm using the muscles in my arm to rotate the humerus in the shoulder joint. Ready? And they're working in opposition to one another. You're working through your biggest range of motion that you can. And I like long breaths here. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay, bring those arms down. You should really feel it in your shoulders. All right, good. Now we're going to go through scarecrow arms. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is down scarecrow. Okay, so for those of you that don't know what scarecrow arms are, we have our arms extended out in parallel to our ears. Now we're going to bend them. So they're bent like this in right angles. Okay, so our first scarecrow arms is we're going to send our arms down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you should really feel that deeply in that shoulder girdle. 9 and 10. Okay, good. All right, now we're going to do scarecrow arms up. Obviously, that's what's next. Okay, so extend those arms out, bend them to a right angle. Exhale. 2. And it's almost as though you're pushing your shoulders or your elbows forward. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you look over at your arms, you're really hoping that your wrists are lining up over your elbows. Okay, bring those arms back down. We have one more set. Door handles, scarecrow down, scarecrow up. You ready? Whew. Okay, go ahead and extend those arms. Left thumb up, right thumb down. Exhale. 1. And rotate as big as you can here. Keep those arms straight. 5, 6, 7. Focus on keeping those shoulder blades really stable in the back. 9 and 10. Good. Okay, arms down. Now we have scarecrow arms down. Okay, extend back out. Bend them to right angles. Soft neck, soft tops to shoulders, and scarecrow arms down. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Now your elbows and forearms should be dead here. You're focusing on that internal rotation of that top arm bone, your humerus in the joint. 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay, give your arms a tiny break. I know if my arms are burning here, your arms are probably burning too, but I'm giving myself just a little break and then I'm going to continue. Arms extended, bent to right angles. Okay, scarecrow up. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, And feel as though you're extending those elbows forward. Take a gaze over. 6. Are my wrists in line with my elbows? 8, 9, and 10. Okay, nice job. Let's go ahead and lean forward and let your arms hang dead toward the mat. Let your head hang between your knees, nice and heavy. Now exhale, contract through your core, lift your spine just a little bit, and rest your right elbow under your right shoulder. And lean over to the left and go ahead and stir the pot. One direction and then the other. Good. Now place the left elbow under left shoulder. Let the right arm dangle and stir the pot with the right arm. And change directions. Okay, come back up to the seated position. We're gonna open through the chest, sending your heart forward as far as you can, and close, opening your shoulder blades as much as you can. Now open, inhale, and exhale. Go ahead and let your ribs flare open, and then overlap the other arm on top. Inhale and exhale. Good. Let's go ahead and come to standing and take just a couple of hinges. Hands on hips, butt going to the back wall, shoulders parallel to hips. This is a great universal stretch. If you feel like your back is tight, you feel like your hamstrings are tight, do this stretch 7 or 8 times, several times a day. Good. Well, guys, thank you for joining me in the class today, and we'll see you next time. I should have it uploaded on our YouTube channel here within the next couple of hours. If you go to YouTube, search for the channel Coco Denver. And now the videos are stratified, so you can go to playlists and you'll find the strong and steady classes listed there, the HIIT classes separately, the stretch classes separately, and coming soon will be mat Pilates classes. So hopefully you can find them all there. If you are not a Coco member and you enjoyed this class, feel free to make a donation to us. Under the About tab, you'll find a link where you can make a donation to Coco Denver. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.